This is a preview video. Thank you for joining us at xm.com. Inflation across the Eurozone seems to be moderating, and the June CPI data out on Friday will definitely be eyed by markets. I'm Christina Marujos. With me today is our investment analyst, EURGBP. Achilles, the European Central Bank has well telegraphed that more rate hikes are coming, but could a further moderation in inflation change the central bank's stance on monetary policy?
Good morning, Christina. Thanks for the question. Yes, we have to admit that the ECB has been on a steady path the past 11 months. They've been hiking at every meeting. And at the last press conference, President Lagarde was quite clear that they will continue so, despite the moderation in inflation and some weaker growth outlook data. Most of the ECB members have quickly came out and talked about July being a done deal and essentially talking about September, which is still 3 months ahead. However, there are some doubts at the ECB, essentially the members of the ECB who are not so concerned, who are more concerned about hiking aggressively, and they want essentially to take a more moderate pace and even start talking about rate cuts quite soon. So they are looking at the recent week data and they get a bit worried. If we get inflation essentially being below expectations this week, they will become more vocal. And then it will be another race about what happens in July, but mostly in September. Now, more specifically, we get the June preliminary figures this week for Germany, the relevant states, and of course the Eurozone aggregate. The headline figure for the Eurozone is seen dropping a bit, but the problem with the ECB is that the core component, which is essentially what the ECB and the other central banks are monitoring more closely lately, is going to pick up pace a bit. There have been quite a few economists arguing that the core CPI is not really the best predictor of headline, but the ECB worries that elevated inflation numbers will essentially become entrenched into wage expectations and essentially to the public's perception of prices going forward.
So taking all of this into account, let's turn to the market reaction. How could the euro perform this week?
Yes, the euro has been having quite a tough year against the pound. And to be fair, we didn't expect the pound to act so strongly recently, just because the Bank of England, up to now, because they seem to have changed the strategy, they've been severely behind the curve. So they have not been hiking and they've been very dovish. Nevertheless, the pound has been outperforming the euro. For this to continue, there has to be a weak inflation report this week. So if we get a downside surprise, that will probably give the excuse to the euro bears to push it much lower. Essentially 0.8504 is the first target. If this is broken, then they can have a push, we can see if it's going to be successful, towards the 0.84 area. On the other hand, of course, if you get strong CPI this week, especially if the core climbs above 6%, then the euro-pound pair will go up. The next likely area for resistance is the 0.8670, that's 0.807020.
Achilles, thanks so much. This was a preview video. Thanks for joining us at xm.com.